ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां व्यासशङ्करमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So this is the opening prayer mantra saluting the Guru Parampara. As you all know, that in our tradition we have Guru or the teacher. Whether we learn any subject, we go to school, we go to college, or we go to university, there's always, or in your daily life also, there's always a teacher. If nobody else is there, then who is a teacher? Bhagavan is a teacher. So in reality, there is nobody called here Anataha. So Anataha, when you say here, it means what? An orphan. So there's somebody called Nataha, Sanataha, Anataha. So when you say Nataha, Nathan means the Lord or the Bhagavan. And Sanatanam, when you say that which has been there for many years. So the tradition which we follow in India has been there for many years. What we are seeing here in developed countries is only very little. Our tradition is very old. You can't even comprehend how old it is. So Sanatanaha. So as long as we follow this tradition, we are under the protection of Dharma, under the protection of righteousness. So Dharma, when you say, it means righteousness or the right things to do in life. Follow the right things to do good things to people, and lead a very clean life. It is one of the most important things. So when you have this view of depending on our scriptures or relying on the scriptures, following the scriptures, what they are written there, then you never go in the wrong direction, because the scriptures will take you in always the right direction. So we always say Shastram does not lie. It does not take you in the wrong path. So you must have trust in the Shastram. It's called Veda Mata. Just as you have explicit trust in your mother. The mother always does the good things for the children. There's never a second, there's never a time when the mother will think bad thing for the children, because there's a trust between the mother and the children, that even though the person may make all sacrifices for the children, may not be known to the person there, but it is always the mother takes explicit care. The same way, here also the Shastram is called the Veda Mata. So Mata means the mother. And in our tradition, always the mother is worshipped before anybody else. So Matru Devo Bhava. We do not say Pitru Devo Bhava, because the mother is the one who introduces the child to the father also. And the mother also is the person who brings the child into this world. So always in our scriptures, the Shrutihi or the Shastram we call. Shruti is also a feminine gender word. Shruti is a female name. So here also we invoke the prayer to our gurus so that we always have their blessings. They are the one who gave this text. And they are the people who also wrote the commentary or the write-up about how this should be taught, what it means and everything else. So Sada Shiva Samarambham. So it all starts with the Shivaha or Sada Shivaha. So Sada means always and Shivaha means the Lord. In fact, Shiva means is actually auspiciousness. Shivam, they say, it means auspiciousness, it means righteousness. So all started with the Sada Shivaha. That's why we worship the Shiva first. Then after the Shiva, then came Vyasaha. So Vyasa is the Rishihi or the who gave us the Vedas. So you look at the initial text, the Vedas itself was very big, huge amount of text. Nobody knows where to start, nobody knows what to read, and it is difficult to comprehend how to do this. So Vyasa was the person who gave us different types of Vedas. So he split the Veda depending upon the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda and Atharva Veda. So he said for people like us, it is difficult to master everything. We do not know where to start and where to end, what to study. So Vyasa was a person who learned from the Shivaha and he wrote or split the whole Vedas into 4 parts. So the word Vyasa itself means separation, separate. So in Vishnu Sahasranama also we have Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya, means what? Vyasa is also called Vishnu. So another name for Vishnu is also Vyasaha. So we got 4 different types of Vedas. Yajur Veda, Rig Veda, Sama Veda and Atharva Veda. Now this itself is very big. If you want to study one aspect of Yajur Veda, it will take you 45 years to do that. Provided you go to Gurukulam at 7 years of age. By the time you come out of Gurukulam, by this time, in the olden days, when you go to Gurukulam, after the Upanayana is done for the person, you go to the teacher, you study with the teacher for at least say 12 years. So by the time you come out of the Gurukulam, you are 21 years, 21 years. During that time, they would have taught you how to lead a clean life, what are all the scriptures you should know, chanting, meaning of the prayers. They teach you Bhagavad Gita, all sorts of text is taught to you. So when you come into the actual life, into this world, because outside world is not known to you. Outside world is not known to you, you only know the Gurukulam only. So you are strictly under the tutelage of your Guru only. So the student knows only what the Guru says, and he or she will do only what the Guru says. He will not do anything outside this. So no movies, seeing movies, no going out, no WhatsApp, no social media, nothing. So you are restricted to only learning a disciplined life. So when you come into this world also, you lead a very disciplined life of Dharma. So what we learn and what we understand is very important for us. So also this Vishnu Sahasranama is a very important text. In fact, it is said that one has to know, or at least know to chant Vishnu Sahasranama with reading a book also. See, you do not need to know by heart. It is good to know. If you know by heart, it is okay. Nothing wrong with that. But always when you are chanting anything, your mind should be with the chant. Your mind should be with the words expressed there. So that you focus attention on what is being said there, the importance of what is said there, what is the meaning of that is important. It is not important for you to chant at a rattling speed, because you're not here to prove your prowess. You're not here to prove your superiority over someone who can chant at 20 minutes or 15 minutes. At the end of the day, what are you seeking for is important. You want to learn the chanting, you want to be comfortable at your own pace, and you want to understand why you are doing this. So do not get worried about what people do, other things at all. This is something which I am telling you, because when you go to society, when you go to other places where you chant, sometimes you will feel very, very uncomfortable. Oh, I do not know anything at all. These people are chanting so fast. They are rattling speed. And by the time you look at the book, they're already about 10 verses ahead. It doesn't matter. You can follow at your own pace and you will catch up eventually with them, but it is not important. So Vishnu Sahasranama is one of the important texts. I need to give you some background about it so that before we go into the text itself. So this text was written during the Mahabharata period. So when Mahabharata war was being enacted and the war was taking place, at that time this text was revealed by Bhishma to the Pandavas. So this comes in the Anushasana Parvaha. Anushasana means what? Shasana means govern, rule. And Anushashanam means governing thoroughly or properly. Sashanam means rule. And Anushasana means govern it thoroughly. How to rule a country, how to rule a people, how to rule everything correctly. As you know, Bhishma was one of the stalwarts. He knew everything about Dharma. He knew everything about Dharma, but his ego or ahankara was preventing him from telling him the truth. As you know the story, people would already know the story before, that he had given a vow that I would never take up a kingdom, I would never become a king, I would always be subservient to the Kauravas, to the Kuru dynasty. So when you've taken a vow like this, and without knowing the implications, then you are, because you've given a vow, you've given a promise. So a promise sometimes becomes an obstacle for you. So you must never promise something which you cannot do. Like even coming to the class also. If you think you can, if you promise I will come to the class, means you should stick to it. Otherwise it is difficult. So it's like saying Bhishma also, he gave a promise. What did he say? That I will never become a king. I will never be competing for any throne with the Kuru dynasty, and I will not even get married also. So he was a bachelor for entire life, and because of this, the promise he gave, he was not able to follow Dharma to the right extent, righteousness. He knew everything about what is right or wrong, everything. But because of this, the connection or the commitment is given to the dynasty, he was not able to follow that. All the people in the Mahabharata characters you see, they are all tied like this. Even Karnan was like this. Even all the acharyas were like this. They are supposed to be teaching Brahma, Brahma Vidya. But what did they do? They go and, they were fighting. So the rishis are supposed to be teaching Vedas. And the Kshatriyas are supposed to be fighting the war. But in the Kuru dynasty, everybody was, they had no idea what they're doing. Everybody was doing whatever they wanted. They were all fighting the war, a wrong war. So this particular Vishnu Sahasranama was taught to Bhishma by Shaunakaha. So Shaunaka was another rishi before even the war was started. So Shaunaka rishi taught this Vishnu Sahasranama to Bhishma. So you know what Bhishma is? Right? So Bhishma is a warrior in the Kuru dynasty. And he is the great-great-grandfather. It's called Pitamaha. So Pitamaha means he is the great-great-grandfather, the oldest person. He doesn't have any death. He can die whenever he wants. So he had this wish that he could die whenever he wants. So when the war is fought and when he is on the deathbed, all the people come. Yudhishthira, all the Pancha Pandavas come. They come and ask him for advice. What advice they ask? They ask him for advice as to what is dharma, what is righteousness. So whenever I say dharma, it means what is right thing to do. See, we always in our mind, we know what is the right thing to do, correct? We always know. You can never say that I don't know. You always know, your mind tells you that what I do is right or wrong. But still sometimes we choose to do the wrong things. Because we are not very sure, or we do not want to be the loser. So we try to cover up all activities and sometimes follow the not righteous path. So here also, Yudhishthira is supposed to be Dharma Raja, a person who is supposed to be follower of Dharma. And despite knowing all dharmas, despite knowing all the righteousness, still he was doing all wrong things. He went and played the chess game. He lost his wife, lost his kingdom, lost his brothers, everything. So he understood all the mistakes he had committed. And when Bhishma is lying on the deathbed, he comes and asks that before you depart, you please tell us what is the right thing to do. And how do we worship this Lord? So Kimekam Devatam Loke. So you see the word Kimekam. So who is that Lord? You will see in subsequent verses, you will see that. I'm just giving introduction to you. So Kim Ekam means who is that Lord which is said in the text? Who is the person mentioned in all the text? How does he look like? How do we see him? How do we worship him? Why there are so many names for the Bhagavan? All these questions. Why can't we have just one name? Why there are 1,000 names? So these are the questions a person who is actually a well-read person like Yudhishthira also asks Bhishma. So Bhishma, when says Krishna is sitting next to him, he is watching this prince asking this question. So Yudhishthira says, Bhishma says, Krishna, why don't you answer this question? He says, if I tell them, they would not like it, because they already know that I'm somebody superior to them. So they would not accept it, and it is better that you tell them from your point of view. So that is how this Vishnu Sahasranama is revealed by Bhishma to the prince Panja Pandavas. So this is the scene. Okay. So he says, starts with the meaning of the word Ishwaraha. So we all know what is Ishwaraha. We always say Ishwara, 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 we kill. Right. So when you say Ishwaraha, it means two things. Ish plus Varaha. So Ish means, or Is means, it means existence or the material cause. So the one which is present here, everything what you see here, anything you see here, including yourself, is existence or what is present here. And Varaha means the one who is bestower of these things. So Varaha means the person who gives this, Ishwaraha. So same thing as the Devaha. So Kimekam Devaha, Kimekam Ishwaraha. So who is this one Ishwaraha? Who is this one Devaha being talked about in the Vishnu Sahasranama? For that, Bhishma says, I don't have one answer. I cannot give you one answer because he is not located in one place. If Ishvara was located in one place, I could tell you, go and see him there. But I cannot point him in one location. He is present in every location, in every nook and corner of the universe, every object in this universe, every living thing and non-living thing in the universe. He is also living in me as a pranaha, as the manaha, the mind. Right? He is living everywhere. So how can I just give you an answer like this? But he says, I will still give you an explanation of how many types of things you can see this. So the word Vishnuhu itself means the one who pervades, or Vishwataha. So Vishwam means the universe, and Vishnuhu means the one which pervades the entire universe, the entire objective world is called Vishnuhu. Hope you are making notes, right? If you're not making notes, either you should be remembering everything what I say, all the 1,000 verses. So 1,000 times 15 or 14 words, each of them, 1,500 words you should remember. So it's not practically possible. Even for me, it's not possible. So I got my own notes. So you can write your own notes if you want, in your own word. And Vishnuhu Sahasraha. So Sahasram means 1,000. So why this 1,000 is said? Why can't you have 100? It doesn't matter. Whether you have 100, you have 1,000, you have 1 crore, 1 billion, doesn't matter. Because the Bhagavan here cannot be counted by numbers. You cannot count how many are there. So even in Tamil also we have how many? 33 crore devatas. Do we know how many 33 crore we do count? We just say 33 crore devatas and devades are there. I mean, so many people are worshipping so many things. See, one family may worship, 2-3 Bhagavans. Somebody will say, I am an Anjaneya Bhakta. Somebody will say, I am a Ram Bhakta. In the same house, somebody will say, I worship everybody. So, so there are different people do different, Bhagavans are there to worship. But what we follow is that everything is Bhagavan here. Everything is the Lord here. That is why the word Sahasraha is mentioned here, just to give you the vision that it is not something very small. So it is very vast number. So also in the Purusha Suktam also, who knows, we say Sahasra Sirsha Purushaha. Correct. So Sirshaha means head. So 1,000-headed Lord. So why do you say 1,000-headed Lord? It means it just, and Sahasra Akshaha. So 1,000 eyes. Same way here also. Sahasraha means 1,000. And there are Nama. So Vishnu plus Sahasraha plus Nama. So 3 words are together called Vishnu Sahasra Nama. So Nama means what? The different names of the Lord. So there can be different names. One can call Vishnu, one can call Vyasa, one can call Govindaha. So there are different names of Mukunda. All are names. But all the names indicate what? Indicate only one Bhagavan. There may be many names. All of us have got different names. But all of them indicate what? There's only one Bhagavan there. There cannot be so many Bhagavans here. So many things will not be there. Then it will become a problem because everybody will worship only themselves. Nobody will worship the common Bhagavan. So that is why we have been given these names. All of us have got our own name, our own Gotraha, Kulaha, everything is named. But it is given so that you understand your identity as, even though we are different, we are still one. So, and Namaha means there are many names. But Nami is only one. Nami means the person to whom the Nama goes. So Nama means the number of names which you can attribute or you can call. So if I call somebody called Subramanian, I can call Subramania Subbudu. I can call Subbu. I can call SS or Subs. I can call him any number of names I want. But if I call any name, only one person will come back, right? Do you think if I call Subramanian, somebody else will come? Or Subbudu, somebody else will come? Because I'm addressing only one person. So even if I address 10 people, 10 different names, only one response will come to me, correct? So we have pet names. Somebody have, different pet names in house. Like I think in Punjabi, they got Sweetie, so many people are there. Papa. So when you say Papa means like, somebody will come back. So you only know what Papa means, correct? I won't come back. I won't say that I am Papa because you are addressing that person. And that person also could be named as Kanna also. So thousands of names are there, but return is only one. So this is only Bhagavan. So that is why Vishnu Sahasranama means there are 1,000 names of the Bhagavan, which indicates 1,000 different objects in the universe, but all of them are going to only one Bhagavan. So the Nami is one, Nama is many. Is it clear? So I need to prepare you for the class. See, directly if you jump into the class, you will not have the context. Because everywhere this Vishnu Sahasranama is very cryptic. It is like, some places it goes very deep even for a person who has studied for many years to understand what he is talking about. So you would need to prepare to see what exactly it means and what connection it is. So we saw that this Nami is called the Bhagavan, right? So we call him as a Bhagavan, or the meaning Bhagavan is called Bhagaha, and the Van indicates the owner of this Bhagaha. So Bhagaha means what? Divisions. So divisions means there are different aspects of it. So when you say Dhanavan, it means what? The person who has got Dhanam is called Dhanvan. Gunavati, when you say, it means a person has got Gunaha, the lady is called Gunavati. So Pahalwan, when you say the person is strong, is called Pahalwan. Right? So all of them, the Van indicates what? The Van indicates overlordship or ownership of that. So Bhaga also means what? Bhaga plus Bhagavan plus Van equal to Bhagavan. Bhaga plus Van equal to Bhagavan. So what is the Bhaga? So there are 6 aspects of Bhaga is there. 6 aspects. First is called Jnanam. Jnana means knowledge. So what does Sahasranama give you? Because it talks about Bhagavan, it gives you Jnanam. It gives you knowledge. Knowledge about what is right, what is wrong. Knowledge about what is to be believed, what is not to be believed. So Jnanam. About what you are and what you are not. So are you the physical body which you see, or you are not the physical body? Is there something else other than this what you see, or is there something, this is what it is? So this jnanam or knowledge is given by this shastram. The second thing is called vairagyam. So vairagyam, when you say, it means dispassion or the maturity of the person to grow out of things, out of desire, naturally. Example, when you are a child, you are playing with the ball. Or if it is a girl, they will play the doll. And when you are a child, you will be watching all this comical serials. I think Teletubbies in Australia, or some other serials are there. So when you are a child, you like to watch all these things. Spot, all the different things are there. And you also watch along with the children. And you see them grow. After say 6 years or so, they don't watch any more Teletubbies. They watch something else. Correct? So what has happened when you're a child and now, you have actually grown out of it. So even if I tell somebody, even if I tell my son who is 14 years of age, same as Rohit and the other person there. If I tell him now, you used to watch Teletubby, Dad, don't tell me this. I don't like this. Because they do not want to be reminded of that. You like to tell them, this is how you were growing. This is how all the photos were there. Yeah, I know. I don't want to be reminded this. Now I'm not watching this anymore. So don't talk to me like this. Don't show me this. So they are themselves growing out of this naturally. So this is called vairagyam. So nobody is telling you to drop it, but you, because you have grown out of it, you do not want to do anything more, anything like this. So all the old CDs go, new CDs come. Now all latest Harry Potter will come. New things will come. So then you play with this sometime. After some time, you'll get bored. Then you'll get married. You'll have, your wife will come, children will come, new car will come, new house will come. You get bored of the house, buy a new house, 5-bedroom house, 6-bedroom house. So you naturally get bored. You just keep moving. You do not like to go back and stay in the old house, correct? Even though somebody gives you a chance, what you'll say, no, I'm happy here. I may actually go to a better house than this. Then I would rather go to the old house. Because you have naturally grown out of that particular desire to stay in the old house anymore. So even if somebody is offering you, you would not, no, I'll give you rent for rent. No, I don't want to live there. So this is called vairagyam. So vairagyam is not something because you got something you want to hold on to it. It is something which you let go naturally because you have become mature in life. You're no longer interested in those kind of things. It's called vairagyam. So the Bhagavan is supposed to be having full vairagyam. We have little. We have only a small amount of vairagyam we have. We can hold on to the house, we can hold on to the family, we can hold on to some personal things which you think this is my property, this is my thing, you can hold on to it. But the one who has got all dispassion put together, like whatever you have, what I have, whatever Krishnaji has got, all vairagyam is all one. So this Bhagavan we are talking about is the holder of all vairagyas, the one who is free from everything. The one who does not have any attachment is called Bhagavan. So second quality is called Vairagyam. So one has to be like that. So one has to become like that to qualify to be called the Bhagavan. You know what? You should leave everything. Sarva dharman parityagya mamekam sharanam vraja. So in Bhagavad Gita it says here, after all the teachings which Bhagavad Gita does, 18 chapters, Krishna is actually dosing, just keeping on giving dose to Arjuna. He's saying, you do this karma yoga, you do this study, you do this adhyaya, everything he does. Finally, he comes and tells, okay, what should I do? Because he has forgotten all what has been taught. So finally, he says here, sarma dharman parityajya means what? You leave everything. You leave your family, you leave all, even dharma also you leave. Whatever righteous things you also leave. And you come to me as Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. You have to come to me as only one, just you. So when you come, you means what? It talks about not your property, it talks not about your assets or anything, your money, etc. It talks about only you as the Bhagavan, just you. Clean. Just as you were when you were born, same way. Without any, when a child is born, it doesn't know what it is. It doesn't have any ahankara, it doesn't have any ego. It depends on so many things, listens, same way. So, Vairagyam. Third thing is called Aishwaryam. Aishwaryam means overlordship on the one who controls everything. Aishwaryam. Fourth, Viryam. Viryam is called Shaktihi. So, Viryam means the power. The one who controls everything, Viryam. Has got a capacity to do everything. Viryam. Then fifth one is called Shrihi. So Shrihi denotes all wealth. So when I say Shri, Shri means Dhanam. So when you're asking for the Bhagavan, do not ask only small things, ask everything. Because you should not be a beggar in that. So when you ask for everything because there's nothing to lose for you. What are you losing? You are going to get only what you are going to be getting anyway. Just because you are going to ask, he's not going to give you everything also. See, when you're a child, sometimes you like to go to the shop and ask your mother, I would like to buy this, I would like to buy this, I would like to buy this. But then you only get what you want, what you can going to get, because you do not know what you are going to get. If they only have this much money I got, I'll only give you this for now. So what do? You keep praying for next. So Shrihi denotes all wealth, knowledge, power, material wealth, gold, whatever you want, you ask for it. So Shrihi is the giver of everything. Then the last one is called Yashaha. Yashas means fame. So fame means he is the one who gives ultimate fame to you. He is the person who makes you famous. So here also when you say Vishnu Sahasranama, this Vishnu is referred to as Bhagavan. Hope you got the connection now. Vishnu is called the Bhagavan who has got the 6 Bhagaha. So Bhagavan Nama, Bhagavan Sahasranamaha or Vishnu Sahasranamaha. So Vishnu should be seen not just as a figure. You must not see him as a murti there. You must see him as that Bhagavan who is present in all these objects. As the one who has got Jnanam, complete Jnanam, who has got complete Vairagyam, complete Aishwaryam, Viryam, Shrihi, and Yashas. So he is called Ishwaraha Vishnu Bhagavan. Okay, so this is the definition of the word Vishnu. So Sahasra, I told you already, it means 1000. And 1000 doesn't indicate a number, 1000 indicates the magnanimous view of the everything. Okay. Everything you see here is Bhagavan. including the physical body which you have. The mind also is Bhagavan's. There's nothing that belongs to you. No, this belongs to you. In fact, even the physical body is also given to you by the Bhagavan. The mind also is given by the Bhagavan to you. And using the mind, the physical body, which is not yours, you are the person who is offering to the Bhagavan. And what do you say? I am offering this to you. So who are you to offer in the first place? You do not have any even right to offer anything, because this whole thing belongs to not even to you. And everything which you're offering also is given by the Bhagavan. What are you creating here? Are you creating rice? Are you creating rain? Are you creating air? Are you creating water here? You are just the enjoyer of everything here. You are just living here. The physical body is given to you, the intellect is given to you, the buddhi is given to you, the property is given to you. All of them is given to you. And you are using this to your own extent, and then you forget about it totally. So this is what Bhishma says, that I forgot this when I was I was ruling the country. Because Bhishma was supposed to be the one where everybody goes for advice. And he is the person most respected, who was supposed to give you the advice right manner. But because of his, all these problems he has got about his own ahankara, about his own ideology, about who he is, what vow he has given to him, everything, he forgot about all Bhagavan, which we also do. So we forget that we do not have anything here. We cannot make even a single grain of rice. But what do we say? We have a rice mill. I got a rice mill. You cannot even grow a single grain of rice. So you do not have a right to even waste a single grain of rice in your food also. Very important lecture, because sometimes we take a lot of food and we just waste. You must think that whatever food you are wasting, you cannot even create even that much there. It belongs to somebody. So you must never waste food. You must only take what is required, and you must eat everything in the plate. Or you don't take that much food. Eat only what you can. Very important. In the Upanishad it says, Annamna Nindhya, means what? Never criticize food or never even discard food. Because Annam is very important. It's a different topic altogether. We will not touch about it. But sometimes I'm giving you hints for the young children are here. So you need to know that whenever a mother serves you food, you always have a right to ask how much is important, how much you want. If you think you cannot eat it, you can tell, I'm not able to eat it, it will not be waste. Then eat only what you want, and what you can, don't waste any food. At the same time, you must also worship the food as Bhagavan. Because everything is Bhagavan here. There's nothing here which is not the Bhagavan. So before eating food also, you must worship. After eating the food also, you must be thankful. So you do the prayer before eating the food, because the food becomes an aushadam, or a medicine for you to cure your problems. After you eat the food, you are thankful to the Bhagavan that all the food is okay, and I'm perfectly healthy, and I'm looking forward one more day. Because next day you do not know what you're going to get. See, Fridge Bhagavan is there, of course. See, we got Fridge Bhagavan in Australia and every country. So you know Monday to Friday what all you're going to get. So whatever Monday is there, you will get it on Friday, you will clear everything. All the Fridge Bhagavan will clear everything. So Monday you'll get this much, Tuesday you'll get, all the items are there. But in reality, we do not know what we can eat next day, correct? Because we do not even know tomorrow will be there or not. There's no certainty about life. We know that we'll be there tomorrow. Every day we go to sleep saying that we'll be there tomorrow, but we do not know. So this is the introduction to the word Vishnu Sahasra Nama. Now I gave you the opening mantra, which I'm going to cover next class, but I'll just give you the first mantra, which is So for those people who want to follow chanting, you can do at your own pace, or you can record. Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum, Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum, Shashi Varnam Chaturbhujam, Shashi Varnam
Chaturbhujam.
So, Shashad, you want to chant?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? So maybe one person has put his hand up. Okay. So you chant after me. Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum,
Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum,
Shashi Varnam Chaturbhujam,
Shashi Varnam Chaturbhujam,
Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet,
Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet,
Sarva Vignopashantaye,
Sarva Vignopashantaye,
Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum,
Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum,
Shashi Varnam Chaturbhujam,
Shashi Varnam Chaturbhujam,
Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet,
Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet,
Sarva Vignopashantaye,
Sarva Vignopashantaye.
So I'll explain the meaning of the mantra to you. So first word is Shuklaha. Shuklaha Ambaraha Dharam. So the word Shuklam Bharam Dharam. Shuklaha Ambaraha Dharaha. Three words are there, okay? So Shuklaha means what? White. And this prayer is for Bhagavan Ganesha. So always we invoke the Bhagavan first, or here, the Ganesha here. So Shuklaha means white, and Ambaraha, Ambaram means dress, and Dharam means adorning, or the one who is dressed in white is called Shukla Ambaraha Dharam. Shuklam Bharam Dharam. Shuklam Bharadharam. Is it clear? Shuklaha means white, Ambaraha means the dress, and Dharam or Dharati, you say it means the one who is adorning, the one who is wearing the white dress is called Shuklaha. White signifies purity. White signifies clarity. And how is this Vishnu? So this Vishnu is supposed to be dressed in white. As I told you, Vishnu means the one who is pervading in all the world. Vishwataha Vishnu. So the one who is Vishnu is pervading everywhere, dressed in white. Then, how is he? Shashi Varnaha. So Shashi, he means moon, and Varnam means the color. So color of the moon is white, correct? When you see from here, you see white in color. So it is not reddish in color. The color is always white. When you see from here, any moon you see, the waxing of the moon or different types of moon you see, is always, because the white gives light. White reflects light. So that's why you call moonlight. Do you know that there's nothing called moonlight? There's nothing called moonlight at all. In fact, moonlight is only a reflection of the sun. So there's only one light called the sun. And moon is just borrowing light from the sun, and the moon reflects the light of the sun. So it means what? Even during night also the sun shines. So ekam. So there is no moonlight, there is no sunlight, there is no starlight. There is nothing like this. There is only one light appearing as many. So the Vishnu also here is the one who is seen as many, in as Vishnu, the one who is adorned in white, and the one who is as though as the moon. Correct? So Shashi Varnam. Then how we see Chatur Bhujaha. So Chatur Bhuja means 4 hands. So don't think that the moon has got 4 hands. Don't go there. So Chatur Bhujaha, we say, it represents the 4 different Vedas, Anga Vedas. 4 different Vedas I told you. What are those? Yajur Vedaha, Rig Vedaha, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. 4 Vedas. So Chatur Bhujaha means 4 divisions. 4 divisions, 4 directions, north, south, east and west. 4 directions. So there's no 5th direction. Don't tell me, there's a 5th direction. You can have northeast, northwest, north, you can have all these things. But the word north is always there. Correct? So 4 directions, 4 Vedas, 4 seasons. Rituhu, 4 seasons. So we have summer, winter, autumn, rainy season, right? There are 4 seasons. So you must visualize this Bhagavan Vishnu as the one who is present in 4 directions, 4 Vedas, 4 seasons, and the 4 states. What are the 4 states? Not Maharashtra, all these things, not state. State here means the waking state. Right now we are all waking. I hope we are all awake. So called waking state. Then after some time, when it is maybe in 4 or 5 hours time, it will be time to go to dream. So we have a dream state also. So not everybody goes to sleep directly. Only some Punyavan or Punyavati has got directly, they go from waking state to deep state. So some people are like this. I am not gifted like this. So some people always have dreams about, even for me, dream is all Shastra. Something will come, some mind will come. Because at the time I finish lecture, it will around 9:30. By the time I go, it will always be all these things which I teach in the morning, 9 o'clock till 9 o'clock at night, 12-hour class. Something or other keeps coming there. For some people, dreams will be depending on what they see. A good movie, a good romantic movie with a heroine, something will come there. So that will come in the dream. Because they cannot talk about it during waking state. They will not like it. So the dream is like a private chamber where you are the person who can talk about it. Nobody else can come into the room, only you are. And you are the hero, you are the producer, you are everybody there. And you can do whatever you want there. Nobody will question anything. So in the dream state also, so waking state, dream state. And after dream, what do? You drift off to sleep. So go to deep sleep state where you do not even know who you are. You don't know your mother, you don't know your father, you don't know your relative, you don't know even who you are. You don't even know whether you're existing or not, correct? But somebody else who's not awake can tell you that you are sleeping. So deep sleep state. So waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. Then in all the 3 states, all the 3 different times, there is somebody who is always there with you, who tells you that you are awake, who tells you are dreaming, who tells you that you are sleeping. So this is called the Turiyaha, the 4th state. So you don't need, just say 4. So 4 directions, 4 different states of experience, 4 seasons, 4 directions, 4 Vedas. So all of them put together is called Vishnu, Chatur Bhujaha. So Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnu, Shashi Varnam Chatur Bhujam. And how we see, how is Vishnu? Prasanna Vadanam. So Vadanam means face. and he is always prasanna. Can you see Vishnu ever being angry? See, Shiva can be angry. When you go to Shiva looks, people who are Shaivites, they will have serious looking, Shiva. Vishnu always decorated, always with Alangara Murti. So Shiva is Abhisheka Priyaha, Vishnu is Alankara Priyaha. Vishnu likes to be Alankaram always. You see Vishnu always bedecked with ornaments. Look at Shiva, he'll be all, some man tool will be there, some tiger skin will be there. Very, very hardly anything will be there. So Vishnu is supposed to be a Prasanna Vadanam, the one who is always pleasant, smiling face, always pleasant to look at. So Vishnu represents the universe. See, Vishnu represents the objective universe. Shiva represents the Samhara Murti, or the one into which all objects resolve. So Brahma is the creator. Vishnu is the enjoyer. Because what do? You different types of prasadams are there. You go to Vishnu temple, Vaishnavas will know. So there are different types of prasadam being made. In fact, if you go to Vishnu temple, Vaishnava temple, you can never return empty-handed. There's always prasadam will be there. Always. I was a child, I used to go to Deshka Sabha, just behind my house. We used to go only there for prasadam. About, Rohit's age, 11, 12, something like this. So we used to just jump over the fence, go to the Sabha there, and we'll exactly go to the prasadam, and they will have this nice Katrika sadam will prepare. And they will do like this, do like this. They will not use spoon. Exactly, and it tastes very good. So first round we go, after some time we'll go again. So what it means is the food also is elaborate, decoration is elaborate, and is always pleasing. So Prasanna Vadanam. So Prasanna Vadanam Dhyaye means we should worship on the Bhagavan Vishnu, who is of the nature of Prasanna, happiness. The one who is of the nature of Shashi Varnam, the one who is white as the moon, the one who is bedecked in white dress or clean white, and the one who is called Vishnu, who is objective world. And how is he? Sarvaha Vignaha. So Vignaha means obstacles. So Vignam, when it says obstacles. So Sarva Vignam, not just one obstacle. All the obstacles Upashantaye. Sarva Vigna Upashantaye means the one who is a remover of all obstacles is called Vishnu. So another definition of Vishnu. I gave you Vishnu, right? This is the second definition. You will see so many definitions, 1,000 names are there. And 1,000 names will have different names. One name will have 10 different definitions, which you will see also. So, Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashi Varnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye. Is it clear to you? Okay.
Yes.
Have you got any questions? You raise your hand here. Have you got any questions, Krishna ji?
No, I was just telling, when you are telling Bhagavan, I remembered one thing. This is a joke only. So it is like somebody coming to my house, going to my kitchen, taking biscuit from my kitchen and giving to me.
Yes. That is why in Bhagavan, in Bhagavad Gita, we have Prasada Buddhi.
Yeah.
You can only get what you are eligible to get. See, in my own kitchen also, if I want to make food, I have to make food myself.
Yes.
Okay. So it is because the wife is tired, he says, I don't want to do anything. So it's up to you whether you want to go and prepare or you want to stop. So you have to know the skill. You should be having the skill to do food also. But also is Bhagavan. Okay.
I wish my grandson should join me. I don't know. He's 8 years only.
No, he's too young.
Yeah, very difficult to convince him. It's very, play mood.
Let him enjoy. He's still, I think he should at least 10 or 11 years old. I think he understands some extent because their mind is a bit settled. 8
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
they are, they're still very,
Yeah, but
yeah.
yeah. They are enjoying some other world. They are in some other world.
Let them, child should be child, children should be children. You must not
Yeah,
treat
yeah,
them as an adult.
Yeah. Yes.
That's why, see, the reason I'm, because we got young children also in the class,
Yeah.
who are, but they are not very young also. They are, so they need to understand the righteous way to live dharma. If we tell them right now,
Yeah.
they will exactly follow the correct method. Anything else? Kushalji, you had a question. What is it?
Yeah, just a quick one. You are chanting in a particular tune. Does
Right.
that always have to be in that tune, and why?
It is because it is the way it is. I was taught. It is the way I think everybody is taught also.
Okay.
Because if you look at the Bhagavad Gita also, there is no meter, but we chant in a particular meter.
Okay.
So, but the speed I chant is very slow at the moment. But when you go to actual Sasana class, by the time I finish the class, they would have finished chanting 4 times, 5 times. It has taken me 1 hour to complete 1 line, 2 lines. Because that much information is there in just the Shuklam Bharadhanam Vishnum Shashivardhanam Chaturbhujam. Chaturbhujaha, when you say literally what it means, somebody with what 4 arms, Chaturbhujaha. This is how you go and this is how people understand. But Chaturbhujaha doesn't mean Chaturbhujaha. Chaturbhuja means it means 4 aspects of everything. 4 states of experience, 4 directions, 4 different angas, Vedas, right? All of them, that what it means is that you are including everything encompassing Vishnu. So you are not just listening to Vishnu as only one object. When you see the Bhagavan Vishnu there, you see the Vedas in them. You see the directions in them. You see the seasons in them. Okay? You see the states of experience in them. So you see everything there. When you go to temple to see Vishnu, you see only as the Murti there. Then you're only seeing only one idol there. But what you see in the Bhagavan is all these things you see there. So you're able to expand your vision from just having one Murti in your own home to now seeing the vision of the Bhagavan. So Vishnu Sahasranama is just not only, it is a vision. It is a vision given there. So very important that, so I'm trying to give you the right vision for you. Okay. It may take time, don't worry about it. Because I'm not in a hurry, you're not in a hurry. I hope you're not in a hurry, right? So as long as you're not in a hurry to learn anything, we'll enjoy the class. We'll do at our own pace. It may take you 1 year, it may take you 2 years, it doesn't matter. Because it's only once a week class. So we can take our own pace and we can do it properly. Is it clear to you the chanting you're able to follow? Bhavaniji, you're okay? You're able to follow the chanting?
Yes, I'm okay for chanting.
You understood the meaning of that? Are you enjoying the class so far?
Yes, I enjoyed the meaning, and it is nice because now if I look at the Vishnu, I will remember all of those qualities.
Right. You'll see more actually. When you start, by the time you finish it, you would have seen the magnanimity of Vishnu in total. You will not see anything else. Even the idol will also disappear. Finally.
Yes. Okay.
Because the objective is what? For us to remove the idol from there. See, the image of the Bhagavan should go into our mind and it should remain in our mind forever. So wherever you go, you do not need a photo. You do not need, some people say that if my Murti is not there, I cannot do anything. You must be in a situation where you can worship wherever you want, whenever you want, always you want. So you transcend the time, you transcend everything else. So important, very important. Transcending place, transcending time, and transcending object. So 3 things. Object is Bhagavan Vishnu in your house. Time is, oh, I can only worship him only at this time, the morning only, evening only I can worship. No. When you know the mantra, when you know the meaning, you are with him all the time. So there is no particular time. Of course, you must worship only during proper time, not when you're doing, other things, You must be worshipping at the right time when you are in the right mood. Sattvic mood is there. And then place limitations. You're not restricted to a place. So you do not have to go to a temple in your place or your puja room in the place and worship there. This is really the essence of Sahasranama. This is the meaning of the Vishnu Sahasranama. Stotram means you must be able to worship him whenever you want, whatever time you need at your own will. So it's always with you all the time. So that is what I'm trying to teach you along with the chanting. So the chanting is something which you can, people who are interested only in chanting, they can do that also. But along with the chanting, if you know the meaning of the mantra, your Shraddha increases 100 times. So the interest also becomes more. Otherwise, you will say, oh, Shuklam Bharadram Vishnum, okay, Shuklam Bharadram Vishnum. So, but then you will not understand why it is being said like this. So now you know when you say Vishnu, Chaturbhujaha. So you know Chaturbhujaha means 4 directions, 4 different things. You are able to visualize. So that is what is important. So next week, what we will do, I will send you the prayer mantras which I already sent you. And we will go through the prayer mantras at the beginning, and then we'll continue from here to next verse number 2, verse number 3. We'll continue like this. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tatsat Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Namaste, Shubhratri. So for people who are attending the Bhagavad Gita class 145, you are more than welcome. I'll see you at 145.
Namaste.
Hari Om.
So yesterday audio the postponed the moon class yesterday it's the same thing.
The students are there, they will post it. You ask them. I don't record it.
Okay, anyway, I put it in the message, I sent it the chanting.
Okay.
They will make it. Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes, Nitin.
Sir, will you upload this class in YouTube,
Yeah,
which you recorded?
yeah, it will be in YouTube. What you do, Nitin, is you search for the text I sent you.
Okay, sir.
Chart. So when you text it, when you subscribe to that, you'll get all the videos. Okay?
Yes, sir.
You can see it in maybe next couple of hours. You'll see it. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Nitin. Hari Om.